The mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Burisma to deserve $183,000?
None of that is true. Let him answer.
None of that is true.
Oh, really?
Totally,
he didn't
hey, Mr. President, Mr. President, please.
Totally discredited. Totally discredited. And by the way,
well, wait, he didn't get $3.5 million, Joe?
Mr. Vice,
he got $3.5 million.
It is not true.
Oh, really?
Mr. President, it's an open discussion, please.
It's a fact.
Well, you have raised an issue. Let the Vice President answer.
Discredited.
Did Burisma pay him $183,000 a month with no experience in energy?
Mr. President,
my son did nothing wrong at Burisma.
I think he did.
Mr. President, let him answer.
He doesn't want to let me answer because he knows I have the truth. His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited.
By who? The media?
By everybody. Well, by the media, by our allies, by the World Bank.
Ooh, you remember that? Yeah, brace yourselves for round two. That was Trump versus Biden in the 2020 presidential debate. That was on CNBC.
And we've been following the breaking news all morning. President Biden accepting former President Trump's challenge to debate again ahead of the November election. Our chief White House correspondent, James Rosen, has been following this announcement. He's got the latest details from the North Lawn. James, good morning.
Good morning, Emma and Sean. I feel triggered just having watched that clip again just now, and I'm sure it's the same for many voters, but indeed, get ready for round two. Mr. Biden has said repeatedly that he'd be willing to debate President Trump, former President Trump, after initially deflecting those kinds of questions. Most recently last week, he was exiting an event in the East Room of the White House, and a reporter called out to him as to when he would be willing to debate former President Trump, and President Biden answered simply, "Set it up." Well, apparently, with Mr. Biden slipping in the polls and among some demographic voting blocs that are key to his re-election coalition, he felt the need to make this point with greater urgency, and so he posted a video this morning, highly edited, just 13 seconds long, to his personal X feed.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
Now, that last remark, I heard you're free on Wednesdays, a reference to the dates, the day of the week on which the trial judge up at former President Trump's ongoing criminal trial in New York has adjourned the action for the participants to do other things. Of course, it is true that the two men did debate twice in the 2020 cycle, first in Cleveland, which we saw a clip of earlier, and then a second time in Nashville, Tennessee. It's not at all clear, as Mr. Biden claimed in that short video segment we just played you, that he won both debates, although former President Trump was criticized for being unduly aggressive and interruptive in the first of those matches. The former president has responded to this video on his Truth Social platform, and he says, and we'll read you the entire thing, quote, "Crooked Joe Biden is the worst debater I have ever faced. He can't put 2 sentences together. Crooked is also the worst president in the history of the United States, by far. It's time for a debate so that he can explain to the American people his highly destructive open border policy, new and ridiculous EV mandates, the allowance of crushing inflation, high taxes, and his really weak foreign policy, which is allowing the world to, quote, catch on fire. I am ready and willing to debate Crooked Joe at the 2 proposed times in June and September," the former president continued. "I would strongly recommend more than 2 debates, and for excitement purposes, a very large venue, although Biden is supposedly afraid of crowds. That's only because he doesn't get them. Just tell me when, I'll be there. Let's get ready to rumble," unquote. And of course, that last line borrowed from the famous announcement, "Let's get ready to rumble," by the boxing ring announcer Michael Buffer. Now, why might President Biden be putting new urgency into this message that he's ready to debate former President Trump? Perhaps because just 2 days ago, we saw the release of the latest New York Times Siena College polls. I believe we have a graphic to show you that indicates that former President Trump is presently ahead of the incumbent in 5 of 6 key battleground states by significant margins in 4 of those 5 states, effectively the 2 men tied in the other 2. So that might explain why we have this fresh announcement of President Biden's willingness to go mano a mano once again with his successor and potentially his predecessor and potentially his successor. Sean and Emma.